Okay, hello everyone. Thank you so much, Grace, for starting us off. My name is Zena, and I'm going to be talking about the Amazon rainforest. Biodiversity, what's affecting it, why do we care, and what we can do to help. So let me preface by saying that the Amazon is huge. The rainforest spans about 6.7 million kilometers squared, which is about twice the size of India. The Amazon River accounts for about 15 to 16% of the world's total river discharge into oceans and spans over 6,600 kilometers. The river also contains the largest number of freshwater fish species in the world. The Amazon also houses 10% of all known biodiversity, 3+ million different plant and animal species, and a new species is discovered every 3 days, about. There's also over 2,500 tree species, and 1/3 of all tropical trees that live on Earth live in the Amazon. Not only is the Amazon rich with animal and plant life, but is also home to more than 30 million people living across the vast region who are subdivided into 9 different political systems. The Amazon biome. This is defined as the area covered predominantly by dense, moist tropical forests, with inclusions of several other landscapes and ecosystems such as savannas, floodplains, forests, grasslands, swamps, bamboo, and palm forests. The basin, which is the bottom of the Amazon, is about the size of the continental United States, and it contains over half of the planet's remaining rainforests and spans over 9 countries, including Brazil, Bolivia, Peru, Ecuador, Colombia, Venezuela, Guyana, French Guiana, and Suriname. Brazil holds about 60% of the Amazon. Why is biodiversity in the Amazon important? The Amazon plays a critical role in part of global systems, influencing global carbon cycles and thus climate change, as well as hemispheric hydraulic systems, and serves as an important anchor for climate and rainfall. The Amazon makes about half of its own rainfall, and it also delivers rainfall as far south as Argentina. Local people rely on Amazonian rainforests for daily needs such as food, water, and traditional medicine. Modern medicine also depends on forest resources, as many treatments and vaccines are derived from wild flora. The US National Cancer Institute has identified that 70% of plants useful in the treatment of cancer only grow in rainforests. More on the Amazon's importance. The Amazon acts as a climate regulator, which is critical as the planet gets hotter and drier. Amazon forests store over 150 billion metric tons of carbon. That is more than a third of all carbon stored in tropical rainforests worldwide. The Amazon absorbs 2 billion tons of CO2 each year, and that represents 5% of global annual emissions. Areas with abundance of biodiversity bring energy, plant and animal reproduction, and are healthier and more resilient against severe weather, pests, and diseases. What biodiversity loss? There are many things that contribute to biodiversity loss, but among the main things are cattle ranching, deforestation, and fires. Ranching, fires, and deforestation, sorry, have dramatically reduced the habitat of tens of thousands of plant and animal species, damaging not just the rainforest's ability to act as climate stabilizer, but its role as the world's greatest reservoir of biodiversity. So, one problem ranching and farming, extensive cattle ranching is the #1 culprit of deforestation in virtually every Amazon country, and it accounts for 80% of current deforestation. Uncurbed expansion of ranching and unsustainable farming practices clear forests and leave areas more prone to fires that can quickly become uncontrollable. Deforestation caused by cattle ranching is responsible for the release of 340 million tons of carbon to the atmosphere every year. This is the equivalent to 3.4% of current global emissions. So this here is a graphic on the demand for meat and milk, which increases the demand for land, and the demand for ranching, which increases deforestation. Additionally, cattle pastures increase the risk of fire and are a significant degrader of riparian and aquatic ecosystems, causing soil erosion, river siltation, and contamination with organic matter. So, how do we stop cattle ranching? We need to reduce our demand for meat and dairy products, which is by using more meat alternatives. And we can also try to use food aversions or disgust for meat throughout society. And we can also make other foods more available and cheaper. Another thing we can do is incentivize good ranching practices. Farming and ranching is a way of life for many people who live in or near the Amazon, and incentivizing sustainable farming practices can reduce encroachment on the rainforest. Another problem is deforestation. Up to 85% of species listed as threatened by the International Union for the Conservation of Nature have lost habitat because of deforestation since 2001. At the current rates of deforestation, 27% of the Amazon will be without trees by 2030. Deforestation in forests account for 11% of human-caused greenhouse gas emissions. According to the Amazon Conservation Organization, the Amazon is getting closer to its tipping point, which is when it will no longer be able to generate its own rainfall and support its rainforest ecosystems. Estimates place the current deforestation level of the Amazon at 17%, and its tipping point at 20 to 25%. If the tipping point is surpassed, the largest rainforest on Earth could be, at best, a dry desert. How do we stop deforestation? We need to reduce our dependence on palm oil. Palm oil is the most widely used vegetable oil in the world. It is widely used in food and by non-food manufacturers because of its widespread availability and its preservability. Palm oil trees are a tropical or subtropical plant, and rainforests are areas which are most suitable for its growth, which is why they suffer the most. Up to 85% of natural forest species are lost when rainforests are converted to oil palm plantations. Below, you can see what a palm oil plantation looks like, and you can see that a lot of the forests were ruined for them. We need to avoid buying products that contain palm oil, and another way to do this is by eating locally produced and wholesome or non-processed foods. There are also products that are labeled sustainable palm oil, but we can only guess how sustainable they really are. So stopping deforestation, another way we can do that is by recovering degraded pastures and green investments. There are more than 50 million hectares or 123 million acres of degraded pasture lands. Recovering degraded pastures could boost the Amazon's capacity to produce meat while scaling massive restoration and regeneration of native forests. Another problem is going to be fires. Since 2001, between 40,000 and 73,400 square miles of Amazon rainforests have been impacted by fires, affecting 95% of Amazonian species and as many as 85% of the species that are listed as threatened in this region. In 2019, over 20 million acres of the Amazon were devastated by fires. As climate change affects global weather patterns, warmer and drier periods will bring new stresses and make yearly fire seasons even more devastating. The decreased resilience of the ecosystems will accelerate the decline of the Amazon. So unfortunately, many of the fires that occur in the rainforest are no accident. Many of these intentional fires are caused by illegal land grabbers who are burning forests to clear land for uses such as cattle ranching, growing animal feed, or illegal logging. The fires being started are also on land that has been stolen either from Brazilian public or from indigenous people. The Amazon is not adapted to fire, which means that burnt forests may take centuries to recoup the lost indigenous trees, wildlife, and carbon storing capacities. How do we stop fires? We need to start by eating less meat. Less demand for meat means less fires started in order to clear ground for cattle or cattle feed. And we need to support organizations such as the Amazon Conservation Team who try to stop these intentional fires before they even start. We can do this by giving money, spreading awareness, and sharing their hard work on social media or anything like that. The primary drivers of deforestation and uh, oop, the primary drivers of deforestation and fires in the Amazon are agribusiness, or cattle ranching, and meat consumption. Reducing our meat consumption or demand for meat is one of the best ways to reduce biodiversity loss, reduce encroachment on Amazonian rainforests and other ecosystems, and protect the Amazon in general. So, why should we care? By protecting biodiversity, we can also have a positive effect on the forests, the climate, and communities around the globe. Ending deforestation and forest degradation while helping to restore lost forests is our best chance to solve the climate emergency, protect wildlife, and defend the rights of Indigenous peoples and locals community. What else can we do to help? The first things first, one of the most important things that we can do are pass policies and legislation that protect Amazonian biodiversity, which include formal recognition of Indigenous lands. Um, Indigenous lands encompass more than 1/3 of the Amazon region, and research shows that land owned, used, or occupied by those Indigenous people have less species decline, less pollution, and better managed natural resources. Evidence also shows that when Indigenous peoples' rights to traditional lands and self determination are respected, forests stay standing. Um, Additionally, we can promote greater science research and understanding on biodiversity and invest more in scientific research and programs. We also need to rethink how we interact with biodiversity and nature and address the harm already caused by our current systems. Another thing we can do is educate ourselves and support Indigenous people and environmental organizations that are advocating for the Amazon. All right, that's all from me. Thank you guys, and thank you, my group. Bye.